Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, I am ready whenever you guys are.
The stream has started. Right now we're making sure Twitch can see everything because the VOD yesterday was a little weird. Cut off a couple minutes.
All right, the VOD from yesterday was going to be weird for several reasons.
Oh yeah, no, there was one big 30-minute reason right at the end.
I'm not kidding when I say that was performance art. Like, that's got to go down in the annals of history.
Well, maybe we'll repeat it today, because here comes a special stream!
Yeah! Alright, let's get this started. Welcome everybody to Jamflix and Chill for Dogpit Jam 2018. Today we got two great games, Mechanical Workshop Zeta and Dungeon Profiteer. Full disclosure, I was on that game. We've got co-host Xibanya.
Hey everybody!
We've got Jamie.
Hello.
ApproachingInfinity.
Hey, how's it going?
Ashe.
Hey, it's me.
And MShadowy.
Ahoy hoy.
Taqueso will be popping in later. So let's go ahead and get started with Mechanical Workshop Zeta. Jamie, you want to tell us a bit about your game?
Yeah, this game is, I'm trying to put myself down, but this game is a complete trash fire behind the scenes.
That's called a jam game, my dear.
As all
I
video games
guess,
should be.
I guess. So hopefully it'll work this time. This is the really buggy version. I'm currently redoing everything. This game was very much just bullshitting as I go along. I originally just had the idea of paper, kind of like a paper doll dress-up game with, different robot parts. And then I was like, okay, well, it would be cool, like, if that had an effect on something. And so I originally was like, oh, it'd be cool if I could make some, like, you press a button at the end and you see how good your robot did. And then I tried to fully expand that into a full battle system, but I didn't have enough time to do it. And it just, like, I would just have, like, an idea, like, oh, what if I did this? And that would turn into, like, a full thing. Like, I just had the idea. I was like, oh, and I don't even know how I got the idea. I was like, what if I drew, like, a cat girl in, like, the bottom left corner? Because, like, those are cool. And then I made it into a cat boy, and then I made an entire story out of nowhere. And that's about where I was at when this was made. I am doing a lot of refactoring right now. The code was actually so buggy for this game that in the battle sequence, that's like, everything in the game after you assemble your mecha and before the end credits is all in one script. It is all in a script attached to the engage button, and it was 1,600 lines long.
Well,
To be fair, I'm sure that there are several other jam offenders in that regard.
Oh, for sure.
I'm guilty.
One of the things that really stood out to me when playing this was how clean the art looks. So I was wondering if you did it in Adobe Illustrator. Could you tell us a bit more about how you did this art?
I did it in Paint Tool Sai, actually.
Okay. I'm not super familiar with that tool. I've heard of it, but I've not used it.
I've used it before, but it's been a while.
Yeah, and I always think my art looks like super unclean because I guess I'm just critical of my own work. Like for the cat boys, I actually use the binary tool, which is kind of like more jaggy, I would say. And for the mix, I use the pen tool, which is kind of like have like a softer effect on the edges and such.
Yeah, that's why I thought you done it in Illustrator. So
no,
that's awesome.
I didn't. And I did a mixture of like, just like, doing lines, just freehand. And then I do have some lines where, like I'll draw the line like more like mechanically, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously everything is symmetrical because like, I would have liked to have like, it makes sense obviously for the paper dolls stuff. But for like the enemy designs, I would have really liked to have the time to make them asymmetrical. Have them do like different poses instead of just essentially T-posing. But I did not have the time for that. And at this point, like I already drew them, so it's like I don't know if I want to draw them again.
It was an impressive amount of content for 10 days.
Thank you. I actually so far I have redrawn 4 out of 5 of the main mechs you see here that you can customize. I've definitely redrawn this one pretty heavily because I did not like the way this one looked at first. But
the snaky one.
Yeah. This is inspired by the High Dog from Mobile Suit Gundam 0080. Just kind of like amphibious robots in general.
Just going with a sleek green boy.
I wanted to do blue at first, but I was talking to somebody at the time and they were like, it looks like Cell from Dragon Ball with all the holes. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a green color scheme. And I think that worked out pretty decently.
Again, it does.
Yeah, it's nice. I think you've got another distinctly blue one as well. I don't know if you've got another green one, so it seems to have worked out.
Yeah, I tried not to have more than one mech of the same color.
But I love the paper. I think I've said it several times, but I love a game that lets you customize anything, and it's this great sort of psychological trick too, because it makes you invested.
Okay, yeah. This guy's pretty cool.
Okay, so actually, the new thing I'm putting in, and I'm working on this right now. Every part you equip now will have a special skill attached to it. So right leg and right arm will each have a unique skill, like skill 1, skill 2, that do different stuff. Like one of them might be like an enemy stat debuff, the other one might just be like a boosted attack, and then the left side is going to be like passive skills, like if you have this on, you have a 10% chance to dodge attacks, stuff like that. And the head unit, I'm actually going to have it so that the battle UI, the visors, that changes depending on which head you have equipped. So I'm really excited to implement that because that's going to be more than just your stats change when you have a part equipped. Like you can give yourself like bullshit healing factors, or you can give yourself like a way higher chance to get critical attacks. So I'm really excited to implement that, but it's a little bit of a nightmare right now.
You did Super Nazi Puncher RPG too, right?
Yes.
I was going to comment. That game was a super standout to me for the witty writing in it, and I adored that game. So I was happy to see that you had brought sort of a visual novel element to this because, as you saw on my stream, the battle system didn't quite work out, but I still had a great time in part because of the, it definitely seems like a love letter to every single mech anime that's ever come out.
Oh my god, there's so many references to this game. Also, nobody actually noticed this, but you can, outside, once you've clicked through all this dialogue, you can click Zach and he'll just say random stuff.
Ooh, I gotta try that in a second.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of classic robo action with the designs here.
And I know from talking to Jamie outside of this that she really likes to draw mechs and stuff. So I could see that this is sort of your passion coming through.
Building mechs too. I've seen the Gundams you built on Twitter.
Oh, thank you.
Cool robots.
I always love when people can bring something they really, really love into a game jam game, because you do get a theme, and I tapped Nomi before where I see a theme, I'm like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do? But I think to really succeed, you gotta find something that you love about whatever you're making.
Yeah, I mean, this game almost didn't happen because when the theme was announced, I didn't realize beforehand that we had to do that. There was a theme that we had to follow. And I was in like a really, 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 really bad depression spell at the time, and I wanted to make like a game that was just like kind of like just like a sappy art game that's like, oh, life is hard, I'm sad. But the theme was not, and I was like, Workshop. I was like, what the hell am I gonna do with Workshop? And then I was just literally just like lazing around, like I was slouched down in my chair, and I had like 3 Gundams on my desk that I had been working on, and I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, that's literally the reason I tell this. I came up with a name in like 20 seconds because I had a Zeta Gundam model on my desk. That's why it's called Workshop Zeta.
It works.
Yeah, I mean, like this whole game was just throwing stuff at the wall, be like, hey, fuck it if it works,
When the theme I'm very fond of, because often when someone comes up with a theme, it's really mostly one person's idea and everybody else kind of eventually comes around to it. But this one was really collaborative between me and Snowshoe and Spoon. and it came out of Spoon wanted to do, I think at first, a hobby-themed jam. And then I'm trying to think of Snowshoe wanted to do something about like construction or something, and I think I was suggesting something about sewing, and then we're like, wait, no, workshop, because you can just interpret that, and I mean, anyway, that encompasses all of those things and more. So that's me talking about my thing. Sorry, but
oh, I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this mech.
Yeah, go for it. Hopefully this one works. So I found out the issue why the battle system was buggy as it was oh god, I actually can't remember what it was, but it had to do with the stats. Like if you had a certain stat that was like way too high, it would completely just break the logic of the battle system.
Well, good thing I cheated.
It was a Gandhi bug.
Yeah, exactly. Our words are backed with no mobile suits. It's not quite nuclear weapons, but it's close. What were these overlays originally supposed to do, or are they just because cosmetic?
I just wanted to do cool visor stuff, because when I was looking at different design stuff. The stats are working. Cool. So you can see it's actually going. You're getting your hits. You're doing that. It's really hard to like actually show what's going on because I just didn't have time for that. But that'll be fixed in the new version. But yeah, there was a lot of cool like different UI stuff that I saw when I was looking up, references, and like I wanted to put like all this cool detail on the screen, but I didn't want it to be too cluttered, so I wanted the character to have the option to toggle it on and off. In the new version, there will be more information, like actual information on these optional displays, kind of like the enemy stats, your player stats. That's going to be, toggleable in the new version.
It just occurs to me that you could do a sort of Fallout style target the limbs or something.
Oh, I'm working on that. Cool. I'm definitely working on that.
That's awesome.
You're going to be able to repair your mech in between rounds this time. You're going to have a limited amount of currency when you start the game, and depending on how beat up your mech gets, you're going to have to spend money to repair it. So if you built like a mech that gets hit really easy, has really low defense, you might run out of money to repair your suit by the time you hit 4th or 5th round. So you're going to have to
the player.
Oh, now at that point in time, you're practically running a gauntlet, hoping that your guy doesn't die. I like it.
Does this game have a game over state?
It does.
Ah.
I hope I don't hit it this time around.
Yeah, I made it when I did a little bit of playtesting, and I thought I did my best to make sure that you wouldn't die very easy. There was definitely an issue where for some reason that second robot would kill me like every single time.
I love this guy's
I was watching. That one was definitely doing some damage to me. And third guy looked even tougher, and nope, he went down.
Lucky crits.
Oh wait, this guy's a little tougher.
He's got the flow.
And another thing I added is there's going to be like banter between each pilot before you start a fight in the new version. I've drawn like little character sprites for each one, so I'm excited to do that.
Oh, I love banter.
I just want to detail up these.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So yeah, there's the game over screen.
We lost.
Was there any particular era or anything you were trying to evoke? Because I always noticed Topaz 8 right away because I used it in one of my games quite heavily. I see it sort of, you've got this very slick art, then you've got this sort of pixely font, which works, but I'm curious, like, were you trying to go for a specific era?
I just like that font, and that's really all there is to it. I was just like, hey, fuck it, I'll use Player Press Start 2 Fee because I use that for literally everything I do. I'm playing around with some different fonts for the title card that's going to pop up when you fight another robot. I don't know if anybody's played the Yakuza games, but I really like when you go fight a boss, it has like that big text that pops up that has like, boss's name and like the description underneath. So I'm playing around with some other fonts for that. I do want to get different fonts for the mech UI because like I do like that pixel font, but it does feel like almost kind of a little cheap to be using it for literally everything in the game. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. That's like a really minor thing compared to making sure the battle system actually works. But I'm glad it's working now.
I feel like it's a very readable font, which is always nice. Like that sort of like Nintendo-y look. It has the advantage of being very easy to read, even when it's in all caps like that. There's always
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
very
games
simple.
that use
If I
super
had any-
combat text and just
Like thinking about the UI design and the overall look of it. It kind of reminds me of what was that game with the Super Scope 6 that had the robots fighting?
there was Super Scope 6. I think that was the name of the game. Oh, that was the name of the cartridge anyway.
For the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
It's like the bazooka-shaped shooting option for that thing.
I only remember, I think it was called Yoshi's Safari. Something like that.
There was a
Doesn't matter,
mech-based
just get
one
that
that I can't
one.
remember the name of.
Required the Super Scope.
When I was designing the UI, I actually wasn't trying to like go for anything game related. I was just looking at UI references of visors and stuff from like mecha anime, and over time it kind of turned into this. And I feel like I kind of subconsciously created a UI for something like some of the old line Shin Megami Tensei games, like Strange Journey, and I definitely the blue gradients definitely make it feel more like that game.
If you ever need some inspiration for filler text for that kind of thing, I was reading this article about all these animes that use filler text for computers and stuff, and a lot of it is just, it's like the names of metal bands, or it's like the Apple Eagle contract.
There's a scene in Mobile Suit Gundam 08 MST where there's like a character and he's like like brooding, and there's like a bunch of like lines in the background that's just it's just supposed to be text stuff because it's English, and one of them just says like DirectX 11, DirectX 9. It's like, oh, are you telling me this mobile weapon runs DirectX 10 and it's like giant laser beam or something like that? Like, I just thought that was like super funny. Also, I gave myself carpal tunnel drawing this one, this mecha here.
Yeah, this is a super impressive one.
Yeah, that was a showpiece right there.
Yeah, I didn't want to post it on Twitter before the game came out because I was like, okay, like I'm like super like I impressed myself with this one. This one, for like a reference, I looked at like 5 different mobile suits I really liked. 5 different mechas that are just really huge, over designed. I didn't want it to be like, oh, this is a redraw of that one mech. It's got little bits and pieces from the EXS Gundam, the Suzabi, White Glint from Armored Core 4, which I actually have never played. I was listening to a lot of Armored Core music when I was working on this game. I've never played this series, but the music's really good.
Also, holy cow, the cat pieces are really good.
Yeah.
That guy is a really ornate design.
Yeah, there were actually when I first drew it, it had like a little bit of that detail, but I didn't have too much. And somebody was like, "Wow, are you done?" I was like, "No, I haven't started detailing it yet." And I actually do want to go back over it again and not give it more detail, but give it a little bit of shading. But that will be I'm kind of dreading that a little bit. And I think somebody asked on the stream if Avis was also like a cat person, and like they're all cat people, but Avis's ears, I kind of looked at like a serval for reference pictures. They have like those really big round ears.
A different kind of cat.
Mm-hmm.
How did you pick out the sort of look of these characters, of their palette and what they wear?
I really just kind of went for it at random. When I was doing Zach, I was just like, oh, let me just do like a cute cat person.
He is real cute.
I'm really happy with his design.
Also, I like seeing a cat boy rather than a cat girl. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, and I felt that too. That's why I did that. That was I gonna say. But yeah, I was just like, I was thinking like, okay, well, he's a mechanic, so it'd be cute to give him a little apron, and then goggles would be cool too.
Also, the little meowing sounds kill me. They're so funny.
Yes.
I was going to say that.
Avis has one too, but you just can't hear it because it's not as loud as the other one. I need to adjust that. And with Avis' design, I actually was I didn't even realize this at the time, but I have been watching this new show called Megalobox, which is about like it's like Tomorrow's Joe, Champion Joe, like that really classic boxing anime, but they have like kind of like robot arms that they fight with. And And one of the characters in that is like this really like rich, like, you know, like Russian guy with like, you know, silver hair. And I didn't really think about that when I was creating Avis's design, but it kind of slipped in. I just was drawing a character and I had to be like, okay, this guy's like a smug asshole. That was my #1 design inspiration for the second one.
Just has to be as smug as possible.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I mean, he is a cat, so...
I mean, they're all cats, you know. I adopted a cat about a week ago, and she's like super friendly. So she's all cats.
All cats with the same brush. Also, they'd probably get pissed off and scratch you if you did. But jokes aside, you know, I've got 2 very, very sweet cats who would never. They would be mean to anybody. They probably would eat me if I died, though.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll see if one of the effects I did actually works this time, because last time when they showed the stream it didn't work. What gun did you equip? What weapon?
The pink cat gun.
Okay, hopefully this works.
Yeah, no, I really like this plot turn too.
I just
What
had
do
to
you
make
mean?
it
You
as
can't
easy as I
defeat
could.
me.
It is appropriately anime.
Oh god, there's a point where I was like, you know what, like I don't have to make this realistic. I just need to make this as like 100% like super robot schlock as I can, and I really like how it came out.
Because you can't do anime halfway. You have to
No,
have all
you can't
anime
do
or no
anime
anime.
halfway.
You always go full anime.
Okay, I gotta ask. Did you get this bit from Gattaca?
No, actually, I did want to give it knew that I wanted to give the robot a super mode.
Yeah.
But the line, you don't have what it takes to beat us anymore, like I legit stole that from Gundam 00 because there's a point where they say that at the end, and I was like, that's the coolest shit. I have to put that in my game.
Yeah.
I mean, all anime is basically just riffing off of the cool lines from other anime.
Oh,
true.
totally. I also want to go back and make the purple robot kind of glow more with the chest piece. I was really finicky around the shading of this one. I kept like, you know, changing the opacity of like a layer of black on the top to make it like, you know, darker or lighter.
Light him up, buddy. Oh, attacking with full power now. Let's check this out.
Yeah, that was fun that you have to press the button for the final thing. It's a nice bit of their agency.
Oh, it changed.
Oh yeah, I don't think I saw that when I played.
Yes, there we go. Okay. So it did not work for the sword version. Like I would test it and it would work, and then when someone played on stream, it didn't work. I was like, "What's up with that?"
Oh,
but if you use the sword, the robot cuts in half, and the top half slowly slides off. I was really I spent like 30 minutes making sure that worked.
Oh, that's great.
Well,
I wish I had picked that.
Bye-bye Avis, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and then because there's an epilogue where he shows up, and then I was like, wait a minute, like, how did he not die?
It is a mystery.
It's anime.
I'm gonna put in like, you know, like some flavor text that's like, oh, you know, like they have like an auto eject, you know, whatever.
Yeah. It's just like Gundam. Somehow most of it can get destroyed, and the person still walks out, and they're like, I will build another Gundam, and I'll come back and defeat you.
I mean, how many times in Gundam Wing did they self-destruct their things?
Too many. I didn't grow up watching Gundam Wing. I only saw it for the first time like 2 years ago, and I was watching it. I was like, this is so stupid.
That's my favorite
yeah.
reference because that's really the only giant fighting robot show I've watched.
See, my favorite one is G Gundam.
G Gundam was my first Gundam.
Yeah, nothing else can top that.
Real quick, this game is dedicated to the brave Catboy pilots of Redacted. That is a reference to the end credit scene from Rambo 4, I want to say. And this movie came out in the 90s, and it says, it is like the funniest thing to me in retrospect. It says this film is dedicated to the brave Mujahideen fighters of Afghanistan. And, well, 10 years later, the Mujahideen became Al-Qaeda. So when they re-released the movie on Blu-ray a few years later, they changed it to just say the gallant people of Afghanistan. And I just thought that was the funniest thing And so when I was looking for dumb stuff to put in my credit scene, I was like, I gotta do that fucking Mujahideen bit.
Oh man.
Good.
Oh, Avis is back.
Yeah.
He's
less
with
of
a really
less of a
mean-looking
shithead
cat
this time.
shirt.
They should just have like a Band-Aid on their face.
They just covered in bandages.
Only minor injuries sustained from a
Like what was that one dude from Big O? He's just like covered in bandages.
Schwarzwald or something?
Oh yeah,
Schwarzwald, yeah.
Schwarzwald.
You wanted to say Schwarzbruder, but that's G Gundam.
Yeah. Actually, I've got that model
Let's-
kit sitting right over
in
here.
addition to Gundam, I have watched Big O. Okay, I've watched a few more giant fighting robot shows.
I have to get a Big O model kit at some point.
They're hard to find. There are model kits from shows that aren't Gundam are incredibly hard to find, unfortunately.
It's true.
Yes.
There are like 4 Gurren Lagann model kits like in total, and they haven't been reprinted in about a decade.
Oh, yeah, you can usually get them off of Amazon, but they're pretty pricey if you can.
Oh yeah, I mean they're
'Cause
pricey now because they haven't been reprinted.
Yeah, they like originally sold for $10, and
Yeah,
the
now
ones
they're
that I got
$80.
were like 30 each.
Yeah, it's bad. I actually want to get some of the Ava model kits. I actually have entirely too many models right now that I haven't built because I started painting them. I got 2 more today, and because I keep buying them when they're on sale. It's like I don't have time to build these. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
Yeah, I recently got introduced to Gundam building by some coworkers, and I started just getting a bunch of kits, and I'm like, no. All I can do now is just have one kit I'm working on, and one that's going to be next. If I get any more, it's going to be a problem.
I have a backlog at this point, yeah. Yeah, gunplay building is super fun. That's probably like outside of game dev, my number one passion. I've actually been meaning to start a YouTube channel for it. I have a few videos filmed, but I'm waiting to get some art so that I can use for the thumbnails. But it's like, God, I have like, at this point, I probably have like at least 15 kits that I haven't even opened yet because I just keep buying them when they're on sale.
Hugs.
I like the ending where everybody's
man.
reconciled and good.
Yeah, and I do want to do a follow-up game that is more, a little bit less about customization, a little bit more just about strategy, kind of like a Fire Emblem Super Robot War type that takes place after this where they're fighting aliens and such. And I totally did not plan this, but I just decided, like, hey, why not? I've been working on another game for a month. It's called Strawberry Starcat, which is like a little platformer.
Nice.
And, she's a little cat girl in that because I was like, my dumb ass was like, I'm going to make a Metroidvania. And then I was like, what if I made my Metroidvania like, really cutesy? And so I made it as like sickeningly cute as I can. That's what my header is from. And I was like, well, you know what? Like, there's cat people. Let's make this set in the same universe. So that's actually the pilot of the second robot in this game is going to be her. But yeah, definitely click through to the end because I know that Xibanya was mentioning Super Nazi Puncher. And I also want to add in some more functionality to the art gallery where it has just like description on the side, kind of like the trophies from Smash Brothers Melee, where you can like read more about the robot, like its role in the universe, such like that.
If you touch it, allows the player to moderate their engagement with your world. So if they want to know more, they get to know more. If they don't, it's not a problem.
It's not kind of because like I read like a review from somebody that was like, oh, like I skipped all the dialogue in the game, and I was like, why? Why would you play it?
That guy.
There he is. It's delayed, so I'm like, what? Yeah, that is Mr. Kidders, the anti-fascist cat.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed it, but his tail is supposed to be like a fist. I don't know, like anybody noticed that when I drew it.
Oh no, I never noticed, and it's been all this time.
This was. I had a lot of fun writing that game. That's all I'll say. Please go play it. It's free.
Yeah, guys, go play
check that
Super
out
Nazi
later.
Puncher RPG. It was a standout entry in Games versus Nazis, which is holy crap, more than a year ago.
Yeah, I know that blows my mind sometimes.
Time flies, and we've still got Nazis to punch.
We just have Nazis to punch.
Sure,
Oh, also,
Exactly, yes, you still do.
the new version of the game is going to have mute type mode, which if the player is bad at video games and they don't want to worry about getting game overs, even if they don't build their mech right, it'll basically prevent you from getting a game over. And I also want to put in a audio toggle. Well, there already is an audio toggle to toggle the meows on and off because some people are like, these are really annoying. And some people are like, I really love the meows. So definitely want that toggle.
Oh, it should be a slider, not a toggle, so you can just turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
So have you got any accessibility features in this game?
Yeah. The turning on the off and on the ability to, lose is definitely something I want. I'm not 100% sure how I can make it more accessible. Because, if you don't want to really, get too deep in with the stats, then you can just, put up whatever parts you want that look good and then turn mute type mode on, and that'll make it so that you can't get a game over.
Right
Always
on.
a good thing. I feel like I'm obligated to ask that now since I had an accessibility theme jam.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Maybe I'll have one again.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said Kataroth, and I just have to share this, that yesterday I was in the shower and I was just like shaving, and I had taken if I can't talk about this, just tell me, but I had taken an edible like an hour beforehand, and I was in the shower and it started kicking in, but my phone was playing the Black Mages, which is a Final Fantasy cover band, and the One Winged Angel started playing. And I just started zoning out. I was like, oh my god, is this really happening? Because I'm in the shower, I'm losing my grip on reality. There's Veet, which is like shaving chemical lotion that you can't leave on for too long. It's all over me, and then I just in the background, just I was like, is this real life?
It's never real life.
It's never real life.
That's how great jamming is.
Yep.
But yeah, I actually also just I commissioned somebody for some sound effects for this, so I'm excited for that. So I won't have to keep using the royalty-free ones. But yeah, that's the game.
Nice.
I'm working on the new version, and hopefully it'll be up when it is done.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yep.
definitely post it up on the tweet machine when it's done.
Oh, for sure.
Also, the game I was thinking of was Battle Clash.
Battle
Clash.
All right, thank you very much, Jamie, for showing off Mechanical Workshop Zeta.
Thank you.
Next up is going to be, full disclosure, I was on this, Dungeon Profiteer.
A game where you profiteer and dungeon.
I have many questions.
Many questions.
Oh dear.
I'd be curious to have y'all let me know the role everybody played, because I know there are a lot of artists and devs and stuff, but I want to know what y'all worked on.
Let me go ahead and open up the credits.
Oh yeah, I should have looked at that.
Well, how we
It's
just put
important to note that
the team, and we didn't actually put who did what.
Yeah, to be fair, this is still not the full credits, because we had some people that were on in the beginning of the jam, and they couldn't stay on for the full time, but when we were asking for credits, they were not around. So the next version that gets released will have as much credits as we can.
Everything
my
about
God.
this fascinates me.
A sensible and entirely appropriate number of cooks.
How did you guys come up with that?
There were a lot of us, basically.
Well, yes.
I think
someone
we
said
decided,
too many cooks, and it popped into my head.
It's
we
hilarious.
did a chat just going. That's like, what do we call ourselves?
Yeah, I think there was about 200 name suggestions.
We were
An
420 something for like ever.
Yeah, there's at least 100 or 20 names in that.
Team 4 out of 20 people contributed.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm like, I haven't seen this game yet. I am like completely for it. Like, this looks amazing.
Yeah, we had some very, very talented people working on this.
I mean, this is seems like half the regulars in the SA game dev community were on this.
John Terp had a very good point. This is why there's a team limit rule.
I saw it and I considered coming down and being like, come on, you guys, but I wanted to see what would happen because I figured that there was just as likely a chance that you guys would not make it.
I have to be honest, I thought it would be a disaster. I was like, no way are we going to make anything even remotely playable.
Yeah,
I was thinking, is it really an advantage?
Yeah, after a while.
I was gone the weekend, the last weekend, and I'm like, you know what? I've done everything I can do. I'm just gonna let them go and see what happens. I was like worried the whole time I get back. I was like, I'm gonna come back to a disaster of a game.
Because it was sort of like...
Let me quote Blastron on the last half hour before submission. There's no fucking ending? We got one in.
So, to be fair, oh my god. So, excuse me.
Well, we also
Allergies.
forgot to make the gold matter, which was
Allergies
an oversight that whenever it was on stream, I was like, oh wait, crap. You can't actually
turned out
lose.
for the best.
Like the ending.
Yeah, I was at first I was a little worried about that, and I was like, well, it might actually work out, and then it did on the stream. It went over really well, so I was like, oh, awesome.
What were you
we
saying,
had,
Ash?
we had like 4 or 5 endings written, like ending states written, and the problem at the very end when we were like getting it fixed out is it was going through all the ending states when it got to the end of the game. And it was like, this happens. Like, the flags weren't, like, flagging or something.
Yeah, there's no
And
support
so-
for any of those flags because they were based
And
on
so-
something like what weapon you used.
Oh yeah, whether or not you
And so,
enchanted
like,
something
it
with
just-
ice.
Yeah, and so, like, just none of the flags were working, and so we are just like, fuck it! And then we just, like, the endings are still written, so when we do more.
Yeah,
Hey,
did you
Celia,
do
what-
the writing or some of the writing for this?
I did all the writing.
Nice! It's super cute and clever.
Yeah, Ash did really great on that.
Murdered. I love it.
Oh, we can now use bones. Hooray!
Yeah, and it's super funny because there's stuff that's written in that, like, never really got properly implemented on the gameplay side.
Dragon
But
parts.
we never
Yeah.
had it. Yeah, but we never really had a chance to fix the writing on it because again, I was out that weekend.
Yeah.
So whose idea was the
who's just like-
finger?
Oh, here comes Beard Knight. He's
I
a
think
knight.
that was just.
And
I
he's
think what
also
was
a
happening
beard.
is I don't remember who did our weapons. Was it Neolos?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, they were just like sketching shit. I think Ragin did the sketches.
Yeah, I don't know if the
And he
foam
was just-
finger was on that
yeah.
one or not.
I don't
Oh, it was a
either.
foam
I didn't-
finger and a boxing glove. And that was
Yeah,
called the
only
8
the foam finger
ouncer.
made it in. Only the finger made it in.
Yeah.
Because returning to the massive team size, what fascinates me is, you know, I for years in this community, people have said things like, wouldn't it be cool if we all got together and made a game? And everybody kind of laughs because, you know, they think you're going to, well, I mean, it's assumed if you tried to do that, it would end in miserable failure, like, you know, the Zyborn clock incident.
Ooh,
So I was thinking that no matter what happened, something interesting would happen because we might end up with, you know, the next Zyborn clock. So I'm super impressed because I did not think that I was giving you guys an advantage by letting you do this.
Well, I figured at least I would get some cute character designs out of it, so.
Yeah, because you did the what was the art that you did, MShadowy?
I did Beard Knight, the guy who's up right now, the Imp, and a lot of the UI elements.
So tell me about Beard Knight. Is he like stuck in the ground? What is his deal?
He's a
very
beard.
short.
a living
he
beard.
just- What? Okay, that's hilarious. I didn't quite get that. I thought he was like a Diglett, but that's even more funny.
What is his full name? Do you remember, Ash?
It is. Yeah, I was just trying to remember. It is. Hold on.
Also, shout out to Clazela for the amazing enemy designs.
Yeah, I really like the art there for the enemies.
Yeah, they look
And the
awesome.
fact that he did that and did his own game solo.
Yeah,
I
a couple
kept forgetting
people on our team did their
that
own
there was
game, I
another
think.
game.
Yeah, that was really impressive of him.
Like
What
you know,
if-
there's usually a couple people that are like, you know, I'll do some art on this while I'm doing art on this. And he was like, no, I'm just gonna do a whole another game while I'm working on this.
The Beard Knight's name was Sir Bobbert of Yitteryaw. Have names. They all have names. It's just they weren't quite. You know, you don't need to say.
Lore. Deep
Oh,
lore.
here's the imp.
Well, at one
It's really
point there
cute.
was going to be like a little character name line. I don't think the UI got done.
Oh, here
Yeah, we'll
is
fix
the branching path here.
Oh, there's a branched path.
Yeah. So did it
Yeah.
actually get implemented properly?
I spent the week after submission doing some bug fixing, and the dialogue system was one of those things.
Ooh, after judging, I'm definitely going to give it another try.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
her
didn't
first
realize
line
anyone
shows up
was
now, which it
doing
didn't used to.
anything.
Yeah, so what's supposed to happen here is whatever weapon, if you enchant when the knight fights through dire wrap, you can either leave your weapon unenchanted, add freezing to it, or add fire to it, and depending on what you do, it's the imp's dialogue here.
Oh. I'm curious. So, Dieting Hippo, what did you do?
I worked on the weapon piecing system, so snapping all the pieces together and everything.
Aha!
Yeah. I was brand new to Unreal Engine, so I was like, hey, you know, I'll work on one tiny little thing. This can't be too bad. And there is still a bunch of bugs with the system, because I was planning on the camera facing a perfect flat, you know, YZ plane, and you can move everything around. And then when we finally got the workshop implemented, we weren't going to be facing that direction. So there's a lot of magic numbers making everything work.
It's magic.
Taqueso, what did you do?
I did the dialogue system, the part that loaded the story events. And so I was supposed to do the part that connected between the building of the weapon and the fighting. And that didn't really work out because neither of the two sides was finished with their stuff until very close to the end.
What did Approaching Infinity? What did you do?
I did a little bit of project scaffolding. Like I got fonts in there, I got the UI art in there, and then I was partially responsible for our Monster HUD class that did way too many different things.
Monster HUD class?
Yeah, we had like Unreal's got all these base classes that you're supposed to use for various things, and I decided to use the HUD initially because I was like, well, I want to get button events and I want to get a few other things from the game system, from taqueso's dialogue system. And initially I was using the HUD for that, but it just became a convenient place to do everything. So like, well, now, okay, the next dialogue's starting. Also, the battle's going to start. Also, this other thing's going to start. Also, we need to start the workshop. And that thing is, that's a big blueprint now.
It was our game1.cs.
I really wish Blastron was here. About 2 days before the end, he told us all about how HUD is completely something we never use, and it's outdated and pointless.
Ashe, do you know about the legend of game1.cs?
I do not, and I want to.
Oh my, where to even begin? Well, it's a good story. I love it. It's an uplifting story. There was a member of our community years ago who was he was very dedicated to the idea of making a game. So he started working on his game, and he did it by putting all of the code for that game in one file. And this is generally considered a bad practice. And it's sort of an example of lots of beginner things that people who don't really know much about designing game systems would do. But I love that story because even though you can show somebody game1.cs and they can point out a million flaws, and I notice new things every time I look at it, that guy did go on to finish his game and sell it on Steam. So, you know, you can laugh at his code, but, you know, have you finished a game? If you haven't, he made a better game than you. Anyway, it's a brief version.
I like it. I like it. It's good.
Celeste is also another good example of an amazing game where the devs came out after and they were like, here's the gameplay loop. It is one file that is like 1 million lines long. It doesn't matter how good your code is, as long as the game is good, you're fine.
Yeah, people can be really snobby about code conventions, but yeah, in the end, I always love what System Logoff said once. If your game runs and it doesn't lag, you win.
Yep.
If it works, it works.
I mean, hell. Yeah, that's about right.
Oh, I don't know if you saw Craig the Barbarian there.
That's a beautiful name.
Voiced by James Laird, but you had not talked about the voices at all. All its voice work went into it.
Oh, we should have gotten Mihai and James, and we should have gotten people in here.
You should have.
Ashe, you did voices too, right?
Yeah, it was me. It was James, Mihai, and I.
Craig is such a good boy. So enthusiastic.
I love Craig. He's my favorite.
He's just got the best name.
That was a where the fuck was I? Oh, I was at board game night when I was like working on the initial character docs, and I was like, guys, what should I name this barbarian? And they're all like, I don't know, what the fuck? Why would he help you with that? I was like, God, fuck you guys. And then Craig came out of that. That was there was more to a story than that. I just realized halfway through that there wasn't.
It's a beautiful story.
Thank you. I'm glad.
By the way, I'm very proud of the building system because it allowed this to happen. Just building chains upon chains.
I tried that initially, and it didn't seem to work. And I was like, "Oh, I guess that's an okay limitation." But then we saw it on stream, and I was like, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that that was as loosely or like it was allowing as much as it did." It's really awesome.
Yes,
I love the Franken weapons.
We need to decide like if that's going to be allowed in newer versions.
Well, what I was commenting on was theoretically I could have kept dragging things onto the stage until the game crashed, but I didn't get that far. I'm sure I would have had to drag a lot on. So I guess the only limitation you guys would really want to have is to, start making the old ones disappear after a certain point.
I'm always a fan of having wacky stuff available in any kind of creation system. The original plan was to have it so you can attach any node to each other. That proved to be a little unwieldy, so there's now a system where you have the blue node for connecting to the handle, and then green node for everything else.
I wish there had been more tri-split attachments.
Yeah, me too.
I think I'm gonna put fire on this. Fire spike ball chain.
Which fight is this? I don't even know. Is this the Craig troll fight?
I think it's Craig. Oh, I shouldn't have done fire then. It's the dragons.
It's no. The first one should be troll.
Oh no, troll comes back later.
Troll's later. You're right. I wrote the damn thing. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It looks like a croquet mallet.
Get him, Craig. You can do it.
I don't think. Yeah, So I know in the table the dragons are supposed to have like magic immunity or something, but I don't think they actually got implemented or not.
So what's driving is there any AI going on here? Like, is it dynamically randomly moving around, or is it all kind of predetermined what their movements are going to be?
Funny
I
thing.
think the movements are all random, but it's hidden away in this incredibly complicated blueprint.
When we originally scoped the game, it was one of the original concepts was just the weapon building, and you give it to the adventurer, they leave, and then later you get like a note from them that says, "Hey, this didn't work," or they come back and they give you money. And Kukru had gone, "No, we should have a full combat simulation." And for concerns of scope, we were a little iffy on it, so he just went and popped it out in like a day.
Yeah, he had the prototype of the combat zone in an hour.
Yeah, if you had told me about it, like, oh, and then you watch him fight, I would have been skeptical. Like, I don't know if I would really want to watch him fight, but as it happened in the game, it was so charming. This is a great feature.
Yeah, it really worked out.
We were originally talking about it being much shorter, too. We thought it would be boring.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the charm of the game is, seeing what you made in action.
Oh, here's another branching path thing. Depending on how the sorceress did in the very, very first fight, Beard Knight will actually tell you, "Oh yeah, somebody over in the Black Skulls, killed all the skeletons," or if she lost, then something came in and kicked the skeleton's ass instead of her.
There's a few dialogue hooks where it's all dependent upon a previous fight.
All right, I want to take suggestions for what to build next. What should I pick for Rick?
Did you see Jim from Dungeon Man's building stuff?
I haven't gotten a chance to watch the VOD yet.
But
I've seen clips.
He came up with this building idea that was great. He would connect things to the handle, build up a long thing as big as would fit on the screen, then disconnect it from the handle and set it aside, and then he'd connect them all together at the end. So he made the biggest things I've ever seen.
And an unintended feature for extra long weapons.
Well, it'd be cool if you guys had like sort of like bones or whatever in that chain so that it could flail around.
I was really tempted to create a rig for that. I was like, I don't know if I have time for that. Still got so much UI.
Oh yeah. Still, it's good that we came up with such a flexible system.
Oh, hey,
Xibanya was talking about accessibility things before, and I realized made a poor choice here, picking green and blue.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you could overlay like billboarding sprites on top of them that indicate what kind of connection it is.
I think you should be able to connect anything to anything, really.
Maybe with some like screen highlighting things where you make the connection points glow, just to make it easier to find where you're supposed to be able to drag stuff.
Yeah, it would take a little bit of modification, but that could definitely work to make it so that anything can connect to anything. It just takes effort. And after a jam, you can only do so much before you get super wiped. So I'm gonna go and put a stick there. And I think a Hanzo steel on each side.
That will certainly kill all the goblins.
The names of things were really cute. Was that you, Ashe?
No, it was not. Sorry.
That was Blastron.
Was Blastron? Okay, cool. Yeah, in my documentation, I just had things like bone sword, bone blade, that kind of stuff.
The Hanzo steel was named the Weeb sword internally, right?
The pleather grip and the Hanzo steel were the Weeb category of weapon.
That's beautiful.
It's about the right name for it, really.
Did the runic and crystal stuff ever get put in?
I remember seeing crystal stuff.
I gotta double check the unlock flags, because when the crystal unlocks, it doesn't unlock the grip.
Okay.
But you get the connector and the blade. And spear spike.
Yeah, you wrecked that guy.
Okay, so
I love how ridiculous that weapon looked.
The best part of the Goblin Horde is James Larrabee just screaming, "Goblins rule!" And I was like, oh God, I love this so much.
That's awesome.
Because I had everybody like throw in goblin noises, and that was his addition. And I was like, "This is hilarious." Oh, you should lose the Gorgon fight because I love the loss. You should lose the Gorgon fight because I like what happens at the end of the shit. I like what happens when you lose the Gorgon fight, but you don't have to. It's cool.
Oh no, I'll go ahead and definitely lose one.
I love all the voice work in this game. I'm familiar with y'all's work, and I always love it. But it's always super charming to see people whose work I enjoy in a jam game.
See, I love I don't know why I can't talk today.
This I guess was your first time working with Mihai?
This is my first time working with Mihai, yep, and James.
Oh right, yeah. I'm not too familiar with James, but I know he's a pal of Mihai, so
yeah, that's why I think Mihai brought him in, and that's why that all went down. But the best bit of voice acting in this whole game is Mihai plays the dragon at the very, very end.
No shit. That's awesome.
And he was like, okay, I'm gonna give you some goblin sound effects. And I was like, sure. And so he sends me so he just in our Dropbox or Drive file, just 20 like very like hissing and like angry sounds. They were legitimately terrifying.
He's nothing if not thorough.
Right? And so I was like, oh man, these are so good. So I used a couple of them for the goblins. Then it was like 11 o'clock the Thursday before I had to drive up to Dallas. And I was like, fuck, I need some dragons. And I couldn't find anything. I couldn't make it work. I'm mixing and remixing. And finally I was like, hold on a sec. And so the dragon is just Mihai's snarls dropped about 9 semitones. And
wow.
They're beautiful. I'm like, fuck, this is great.
That's awesome. That's one of them. Well, sorry?
Oh, I don't know if you noticed that the weapon actually shatters apart when you lose.
I couldn't believe how far it flew that time.
That's awesome. That's a great touch.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yep. Yeah, you get a letter.
Lady Regina Tallonclaw.
Yeah, there's actually a poster somewhere in the shop that Raujin made advertising the Black Skulls that she's a part of.
I really, on our next iteration, I want to do more with the Black Skulls and Griffins thing.
I am writing on behalf of Lady Regina Tallonclaw. She is, unfortunately, petrified at the moment. She instructed that should this occur, you are to be held accountable for this occurrence. Please find a hex attached to the back of this note. Kind regards, Sir Reginald Tanquar, Esquire.
Womp womp.
So who did the dog poster?
Also
Regin.
Regin. We
Nice.
planned for a dog character who the dog would just come by and just go bark, and then you just give it like a bone or a stick, and it would come back with gold and parts for you. Unfortunately, he got scoped out.
Well. I like how the dog's eyes are even just like looking in different directions.
Oh yeah. There was also another character that had to get cut, and that was Guy Incognito.
We're bringing him back for the next version because I really want him
Yes.
in there.
I'm super hyped for whatever you guys do next.
Yeah, it was basically the bit from The Simpsons where Homer walks into the Moe's Tavern with the top hat and monocle and mustache. Except he would come in every time with a different mustache or top hat or hat on.
Have like really, really weird requests. Knives attached to chains and just like I think the imp was the first character we actually like pulled together.
She's super cute.
She's probably one of the cutest characters I've ever designed.
Yeah, the minute I saw her, I was smitten. I was utterly
She's got such a
smitten.
strong personality too. Like in terms of, I don't know, it's my favorite character out of all this because it's just sort of a like you could market that shit. That's the character that would go in all the mugs.
Yeah,
Oh,
she'd be
yeah.
the tracer of this game.
I would definitely, honestly, get posters of the posters that are in the shop.
So
Oh,
Approaching
actually-
Infinity, Overreach mod with characters from this game.
Hell yeah. It's the merch.
Gotta get the
about
merch.
the merch.
Oh wait, that's right. We need a long weapon for this one.
The harpy is like, in theory, like stays in the air and like pecks at you.
I feel like because I played so much Dragon's Dogma, every time I hear harpy, I just immediately hear all the pawns chatter about harpies. If anybody else has played Dragon's Dogma, they know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Warning, Master. Harpies about.
Oh, so I'm about to deliver this weapon, but if you can, keep an eye out during the transition back to the front of the store. There's another poster. It kind of blurs. That's another Rajin creation that's titled "The Princess Married a Dragon," and it's just a princess and a dragon standing there with hands like, "Who knew?"
These harpies are
Shrugging
hilarious, by the way.
expressively.
Oh, the harpy's so good.
I love her.
So like the stuff like the terrain there, is that part of like some sort of standard asset thing, or did somebody make that too?
Cuckoo made that
Yeah,
in the last few days. He was whipping
Wow.
it out.
So
It's
I'm
probably
actually
just
super
all
unfamiliar
VSDs
with
and
it.
stuff.
Oh, I love this fight. So Craig here stole the witch's weapon that you gave her and gave it to a troll, so you actually fight the weapon that you built earlier.
Did that get properly implemented?
The troll doesn't have the weapon, but it should have the stats.
The stats of it. Okay, that's all that really matters.
Craig has a good sense of humor.
Smash troll.
I wish we would have had time to have voices for all the lines.
Yeah, that was we could always get him back.
Yeah,
Really got a nice
or,
taste of
I
it when
think
we had,
James would have
um,
had time, but not everybody would have.
I mean,
I was watching.
Go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say I was watching the VOD for this, and I wish we had more time on stream because it was fun to just like sit there and let Matt ramble on with the dialogue of this game.
I mean, because the
What
reason-
happens if you let it go when all three are highlighted?
Oh shit.
It only snaps one of them.
That's good.
No, I was gonna say the reason I basically no one asked me. I just did anyway. Well, I only went for the partial voice acting is because I've had other Jam games where it has voice acting in it, and it's too hard to try to do full voice acting.
Oh yes, believe me, I know. I've done that. And
and Ashe would have been the one doing it, and she already did so much stuff.
In the Jam games where I did have full voice acting, that was only accomplished because Mihai worked his ass off to make it happen. Like, you need a full-time dedicated voiceover editing person to do that.
Yeah, this works.
Fine.
That's a beautiful picture.
Oh, you're missing
We're only losing 7,000 gold.
Are you guys ever gonna add some particle effects to this screen? I want to see it freezing or burning right here.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be easy, doesn't it?
Let's pretend that attach point isn't there.
Yeah, I was curious because some of them didn't quite work.
Yeah, the way the system was supposed to be set up was that all those little nodes check behind them for any other nodes, and if it finds one and you let go, it attaches. I did not make it check in the other direction.
Behind each other.
That is now fixed.
Ooh.
In the build I did not put on stream. Because that is the C++ build, and I am still trying to figure out how to get that to work with Unreal properly. But this was a fun learning experience for Unreal. And I'm glad I was not alone on that train.
Yeah, I learned so much about it. I dug up the spreadsheet that showed our experience with Unreal when we started. Everyone but 2 has a 0 or a 1 out of 5.
Oh yeah. Troll loser.
Splat.
I had a little bit of Unreal experience, but not enough to know about the HUD thing.
Yeah, because you made that Spartan or whatever game for the Winter Jam.
Yeah. So I had that's really all the Unreal experience I had. So it's sort of that was a lot simpler because the scope of it was less than this one for sure by a whole bunch. And I was also the only person doing programming, so that kind of simplifies, integration tasks. Because here, a big part of the work really was, you pull latest in Perforce, and suddenly a ton of stuff just shows up in the project folder, and you're like, all right, how can I use all the stuff that just came in? Because sometimes it was implemented by someone else, sometimes it wasn't. You need to try to figure out what everybody was doing, so you didn't try to you didn't step on anybody's toes in terms of what kind of work they were already in the middle of.
So you guys were just all pushing to master the entire time?
We were what? I'm sorry?
There's just master, it was just pushing to master.
Basically. We were using Perforce, which I'm not familiar with at all.
Well, to be fair, when ApproachingInfinity and I have worked on games, we basically do that push to master. We use TFS, which is similar. On my jams, I use TFS. But I feel like when ApproachingInfinity and I have worked on jam games, the division of labor was pretty clear.
Yeah, and between just a couple people, it's a lot easier to keep track of that stuff. And even then, there's sometimes it's like, well, I just finished this thing. Is it safe for me to start on the next one? But if you have kind of a good idea of what you're going to be doing in the end, then that's not too hard to work out. But
how quickly
we were also hit a little bit by there'd be a couple times where it's like, well, I just finished this thing, but I'm not really sure where exactly the gameplay goes from here, so I might have to just wait a little bit for someone to finish another piece.
How did you guys end up with the division of labor on this? Like, who decided who would do what system?
That was Blastron.
Yeah.
We all told him what we were good at, and he tried to divide everything up on the Trello.
Yep.
It's too bad he couldn't make it out tonight.
Had a pretty central role, so it would have been nice to hear what he had to say about it.
Yeah. Well, or maybe it wouldn't have been nice.
Yeah, talk about how much he had to drink.
Oh, yeah, the blueprint cleaning whiskey, the crying whiskey. Yeah, he has a lot of different whiskeys.
The secret is it's all the same.
I found most of the blueprints easy enough to follow, although I never actually looked at Kukrin's combat blueprints. I'm sure that one is crazy.
He knows what he's doing a little bit, though, so I think he has it organized somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, well, he's definitely got that. So hopefully, or most likely, I figured we wouldn't have to actually look at it or have to mess with it because he seemed to really be on top of it.
Yeah, we really seemed to stick to the design pretty good on how the combat worked. So that was nice. He could just go do something.
Yeah. That was probably the most complete part of the game for a long time. Was the actual that combat view.
Yeah, that was the entire playable game, was having combat happen, and it just happened.
Oh wow, Craig's eating it pretty hard.
I think his weapon wasn't quite strong enough, or the dragon's just coming after him hard.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know how the aggro works on these guys.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize the dragon flies. Yeah, Blastron and Kukru were like the Unreal Engine experts. And I think it was Blastron who came in the last couple of days and he was like, I really should have been helping a lot more.
I think that was the weirdest part because like I've normally done like jams by myself and I use like engines that I'm familiar with and don't worry about it. And so having to be like, I want this to happen. Can we do that? Is that a thing we can do in Unreal? I don't. Is that a thing?
Oh yeah, you did dev too,
Yeah.
didn't you?
I mean, yeah, but my dev's not really like hardcore, so
Nobody's dev is hardcore. We're all faking it.
that's true. But yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about Unreal, like fucking at all. And so I was just like, hey, I want to do this. Can we do that? Is that a thing?
Dang, I want to learn Unreal
The
now.
answer was maybe. That's
But
basically
that's
the
what it
answer.
ended up being
Yeah.
at the time.
That's the great process about these, is just hopping in and going, can we do this in time?
I gotta say, having seen this, I'm still not gonna change the rule for the next Dogpit Jam. I will still allow infinite team sizes because it sounds like it's slid together for y'all, but who knows if another team could pull it off. But whatever happened here was
If you
impressive, and
do
I'm
it
glad it
again?
happened.
I don't think I would. I'd stick to 10 or less,
I mean,
maybe.
this was almost borderline a disaster, so
I mean, like I said, it was nice being on a team because I didn't have to do everything. I just got to do like one thing and like really focus on it. But at the same time,
yeah, it was just nice to be able to
Yeah.
focus on the art, but at
Yeah.
the same time,
I love how everybody's qualifying this.
Yeah.
For forming a small game studio for 10 days, we did fairly good. But it was,
Yeah, I
you know,
don't-
everybody gets hired at the same time.
Yeah, onboarding was great. I don't think I would have thought to have someone like Blastron do project management, and that was a really good idea.
Yeah, you definitely want a project manager who knows what you're working with and can actually, like, scope for time and ability.
Because from my point of view, I've never soloed a jam, and Approaching Infinity can tell you that my approach is to step in and be like, well, this is a dictatorship, it's not a democracy, and you're just going to do what I say, all right? That's probably the best way to manage a team.
Especially for the larger the team gets, you got to have someone who can do that eventually, because there will be disputes, and there were disputes on this project even.
yeah,
Mhm.
there
were a couple.
was a lot of it was the scope aspect. Like a lot of people wanted to do X, Y, and Z thing, but other people were like,
Dog.
we can't. Yeah, dog is an example.
normal maps for this price.
Normal maps. I was gonna.
Oh
say.
yeah, we need to show some of those normal map examples on the stream. I think
God.
they look really cool.
Wow.
They look amazing, but like there was no way.
Let me see what
Hippo,
I
can
can
you
do.
grab one of those videos from I guess from the Discord?
Oh, by the way, the
I
orange
can find a link.
chat asks.
I unfortunately can't easily
Down in the
do that
final
right
version.
now.
I know you can skip it.
There was supposed to. Okay, so there was, like I said, one of the endings we had written. You were supposed to be able to skip town.
As in, just like fuck off and be
As in,
like, bye.
Yeah, like there was like 4 or 5 different endings where it was like the factions played bigger, where it was like, oh, if you make one faction mad and one faction not mad, this will happen and this will happen. Like your shop can get burned down. Like a lot of stuff could happen. And one of them was skipping town. And we ended up not having any of those endings in this version because we just couldn't get them to flag right, I guess. So that's the answer to that question, I think.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to because I wrote those endings, so they're gonna go in. Damn it!
Oh yeah, at some point. Oh, we got a streamable. Okay, let me see what I can do here.
Ideally, we'll also have in a maybe an expanded release, we'll have more scenarios and stuff too. In a perfect world.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what y'all do with this.
We did have a pretty good number of scenarios.
Yeah, we end up with 9. So that's the thing. Like, it ends up being a pretty good number of scenarios, and like, the time is okay. Like, it plays well with just the 9 scenarios. So
yeah,
I don't know.
not too long, not too short. And you get the nice, the big battle at the end with all the characters, which is really cool.
All right,
it ended up being just about the perfect length for a stream, so.
It's not on the mixer, but if you're watching on Twitch right now, the skeleton normal map is currently displaying with a torch next to it.
Cool.
Spooky.
So spooky.
It is an awesome effect.
Yeah, so we figured out it would take, another week to do all of those? Working
Something
full
like
speed?
that.
So it wasn't just the number; it was like the number of characters times however many frames each of them had, because the normal has to be
It's
made
like 7
by
per
hand.
character.
And you have to shade it in at least 2 directions.
Optimally 4. And a lot of that is hand shading too, which is super impressive.
A lot of extra work for an admittedly cool effect, but time.
And thus, it was scoped out.
Yep.
Went the way of dog.
But it's gonna come back. I swear to God.
It's gonna come back.
I swear to dog.
Hey.
Woohoo!
I feel like we had a lot of big ideas for dog too. Besides,
did.
like I think at some point he was one of the combatants. At some point he was going to come and just give you stuff.
Important question. Was he ever going to end up in a pit?
Oh, man.
Oh, we should have called him Pit Dog.
We could have. We could have. No, so spoilers, but dog is like. No, it's spoilers. We'll save it.
It's a secret.
We'll keep the secret of dog safe for now.
Dog's got a big secret. All right. Thanks,
secret is dog's a good boy.
He's a good boy. I think it's time to start wrapping it down now. So thank you everybody for coming on. Approaching Infinity, Ashe, MShadowy, taqueso. Thank you, Xibanya, for helping to co-host.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having us
Thank
on.
you, Dieting Hippo, for doing these
thanks for having
Jamflix
us.
and chill shows. They're great.
Oh, no problem. I love doing them, just having people on and just hearing more about games.
Jamflix and Chill is amazing, and you're amazing, and I consider it just as official a stream as the Gong Show, so nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice work, all, and take it easy.
Take it easy, have a good night, see ya on the next jam. Most likely the summer jam?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
probably. Good night.
night.
Later, all.